Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we are delighted that you have welcomed us into your home. We're so glad to be with you. We would love to hear from you also, so send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. I'm excited about our guest today. It's a clarion call to us all, Dr. Michael Horne. Dr. Horne is a clinical psychologist who has specialized in child therapy. He has written a wonderfully helpful book on implementing strategies for managing technology use in a family and a home environment. In this great book, if you have children, you have grandchildren, I highly recommend it. It's called The Tech Talk: Strategies for Families in a Digital World, and this great book is available at ewtnrc.com. And it's just like one day phones appeared and everybody was in phones, on phones, smartphones. It was like everything. And I can remember really repelling getting a cell phone. And it was my girlfriend, Barb, who was just like, you need to have a cell phone. I need to know where you are. We could talk. And it was one of those flip phones, you know? And I was like, I needed to have a funeral service for when that flip phone died. I really liked it.
You're bringing them back, so.
Yeah, but you know, and so it came into our world. Were we ready? Were we ready as in businesses? I can remember you had that, I don't even know what you call that phone, you know, where it had the little screen on it and all the buttons.
Okay.
You know it. Anyway, and it was like an intrusion into a relationship. It was like the phone was always there. How do we navigate that in your marriage? How do you navigate that in your family? And now it seems like everybody has to have a phone.
So we're going to have, doctor's going to give us the talk.
Yes.
And we all need to have the talk, and we just can't say, I don't have a clue. You need to get a clue. If you're a parent, grandparent, you need to get a clue about the good things of social media and being online and the dangerous things about it. And you can really do this. And you're the most important person to do this with your children, to share with them the beauty of the human person, and are they getting it where they're going to. So we'll be right back, plenty more to come. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and today our guest is Dr. Michael Horne. Now, Dr. Horne is a clinical psychologist who has specialized in child therapy, and he's written a great book, Implementing Strategies for Managing Technology. Have you even thought about that, or you just took the tsunami of technology into your world? The great book is called The Tech Talk: Strategies for Families in a Digital World, and this beautiful book is available at ewtnrc.com.
You're off to a good start because it was called The Great Book. My wife, that's good.
Well, the problem is that I think so many of us were ill prepared.
Sure.
In the church, out of the church, and we just all got caught up in the tsunami and was just like, you had to have a computer, you had to have this, you had to have, and we were like, yeah, we got to have it, we got to have it. So before we go all there, tell our family a little bit about yourself and your beautiful family.
Sure. My name is Dr. Michael Horne. I am from Fredericksburg, Virginia, where my wife and I live with our 4 kids. I'm the Director of Clinical Services for Catholic Charities in the Diocese of Arlington, and I also have a small private practice. So love my work, love to serve.
Love to have you here.
Yes.
Arlington is just an incredible diocese. It just seems I'm always finding on social media, other places, great things that are happening there. So it's great to have you. Well, Doc, why don't you give us kind of the landscape picture, you know, when we're saying social media and being online, and some of us are literate in that area, some of us aren't. And what I get from your book is, you know, we just can't claim like ignorance. If we have children, we got to get in the game. So what are we looking at in this area now?
It's a great question. Social media and technology really is everywhere, and I think to fully understand its impact, we need to understand how affected children are just by the things around us. I was aware of this, but it really hit home when my 14-year-old son, who at the time was 2, he and I were having a pretend picnic with his stuffed animals. And he picked up a wooden banana, and he held it up to his head, and he said, "Hi, Daddy." And I thought, okay, he's playing banana phone, sure, why not? So I put my thumb and forefinger up, and I say, "Hi, son, are you having a good time?" And he said, "Yes." And then he pointed the banana at me and said, "Click." I said, "What did you do?" He said, "I took your picture." Hold on. He starts swiping his finger across the curve of the banana, and he says, "I will send it to you." We didn't have a smartphone at the time. As far as my wife and I could tell, my son had seen a smartphone once for about 5 minutes. But just from that exposure, he had learned that a phone isn't just a phone. It's a camera, and you can send things to people. So we have to be aware of what kids are exposed to, because what they see around them, they will assume is normal.
How sensitive are they to the technology? How sensitive?
Extremely sensitive. Sensitive in the same way that if you ask a kid to describe technology, you may as well ask a fish to describe water. It's all around them. It's part of the fabric of their life. And to your point earlier, we have to be aware of how involved it is in our family, so we can have conversations to make sure the place that it holds in our family is one that we are comfortable with, that we are actively setting a limit rather than passively finding ourselves overwhelmed by the tsunami of technology.
It's amazing that your son got all of that and was acting it out. Part of it may be your genetics. in him, you know what I mean? It's not be any normal kind of, you know. But I do find that, and how often do we ask our children help us with technology?
Yeah.
You know, they just seem to pick it up faster for some reason.
They really do. No, they are better at all of this stuff than any of us. And that's one of the reasons it's important to have conversations with them rather than try to outsmart them. It's the same way that passwords blocking software isn't really effective because our kids know our passwords. They can get around all those. Unless we work for the NSA, our kids are going to be able to break any of the blocking software we have. So it's more important to sit down and talk with them and say, what are you looking for? What are you hoping to do with the device, with the software, with the platform? So it becomes a family-wide conversation.
Well, I can remember our son Wes. He had his little son James with him, and James had asked him a question, and Wes was on his phone. He was looking at him, and Wes, answered the question, and James said, "No, Dad, tell me that answer. I want to see your face."
Wow.
And Wes just went, "What did he just say?" So Wes put the phone down.
Yeah.
But it was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And he realized, I'm having a conversation with my kid, but I'm on the phone.
Right, right.
I'm in another world, but I'm really not present with you, am I?
No, not at all. And when the technology starts to mediate our interactions, that's when we have a problem. Now, that's not to say that technology is universally bad. I think that technology can be used really well. A great example, my brother, I'm very close with, and he lived in Japan for about 5 years, including during the pandemic. Obviously, we weren't going to get a chance to see each other. So we would have regular video conference time where we could actually spend time together. We would actually play board games over the computer. He would set up the same board game I would, and we would play that way. Both of our wives are very patient women, which I'm very grateful for. But he was able to go ahead and continue to grow the relationship with our kids. We were able to get to know our nephew through that. But in those cases, the technology, it's a bridge. It's a bridge to get us to the times that we can be together again. The technology has to be the steward of our relationship rather than the source of our relationship.
It's very well said. I want to go back a little bit to that landscape again of what's going on. And I thought I had the information, but it was like incredible. And I'm sure that I got the ages right, but it was like, kids like 13 through 17, it was something like, 90%, 85% are on social media, they're on, line. As you said, that could be positive or not positive, and I'm afraid in many cases it's not that positive.
Sure.
And then they were like statistics, they're beginning at 8 years old, and they were rated, how many kids from 8 to 12 are on, it was like 30% or something. I mean, should we be 8 years old and be on this? Like, what are what are we doing here? But what are you seeing in terms of the amount of young people that are on? Is that right? About 90%? 17?
It is, and Jim, it's younger than that. There are apps designed for children under 18 months of age.
What? Wait.
There are apps available that are designed for children under 18 months of age.
I hope they're all creative, good things.
They are,
but even should they be doing that?
But I mean, but their eyes and their brains aren't physiologically developed enough yet to handle that sort of exposure to screens. So we need to be aware that just because something's out there doesn't mean it's a good thing. And it's not just the age kids are using the devices; it's how much time they're spending. So in this country, we spend an average of 2.5 hours a day on social media. That's not all screens. That's not watching TV, playing video games. That's just social media, 2.5 hours. So if a 10-year-old started today on social media, they would end up spending about 3.5 million minutes of time on social media in their life. That's 6 years and 8 months of their life.
Wow.
Now compare that to what research is showing the amount of time is that kids spend face-to-face in social interactions. It's less than 2 years. So you're talking about a kid spending nearly 3.5 more times on social media than interacting with friends over the course of their life.
Or family, or parents.
Or family, or friend, yeah.
Right? And so I think the biggest negative of it is that parents use it, and I've seen it in so many situations, as a babysitter. And it's like, well, she has this little iPad thing, it's just cute, blah, blah, blah. It only has all Christian things, and whatever. And, but she's locked in, or he's locked in. And then when the parent goes to try to take it away from them, I'm talking about a severe meltdown.
And we're talking really younger kids. Like we see 3, 4, and it's crazy how they're asking for it. And it looks like they're addicted.
It is.
Right, and that's one of the times that you really know there's a problem, when you have that severe a reaction to the removal of a device, when you have kids who are so dependent on it that they can't let it go, whether or not it's a toddler at home or teenagers at the mall or people at the beach. Anytime you have somebody and it looks like the device or the phone is physically connected to them at all times, that's a real indication that something is not right, something is out of balance.
Go into this area some, you speak about technology's influence on the way we communicate. So what does that mean, the way we're communicating through technology versus the way we communicate face-to-face, holistically?
Absolutely. I mean, the way that God designed us is to be face-to-face. We're designed to be in relationship with one another. So the way that we communicate, when I send a message, when I speak, there are 4 different levels of that communication. The first is going to be the verbal level, which is the words I'm saying, like the transcript of our conversation. But then after that, we also have tone of voice. So let's say I go home and I tell my kids what's for dinner and they say, great, we love that. That's a very different meaning than if they say, great, we love that. Clearly what they're saying doesn't match what they actually
and that
saying.
doesn't come through a text or
that
an email.
won't come through a text, neither do facial expressions or body language, because the way that we interpret information is in reverse. We look first at body posture, then at facial expressions, then we listen to tone of voice, and then only then do we get to that text-based level. So if you strip all of that away, you can see how easy it is for people to start misunderstanding each other when they're only connecting on social media.
What a breakdown.
It's a huge breakdown.
But not only that, but then there's a generation coming up that doesn't know how to have a conversation.
There's
and then
a
not
generation
only
here.
Right, and then they don't, and then they get in workplaces, and then they become doctors and nurses and lawyers, and they become our people. I mean, it's like, how did we get here?
It's tragic to see, and I think we're going to see the impact of this for many years to come. Before the pandemic, there was a statistic that said that 30% of millennials reported having no or few close friendships. That was before the pandemic. After a year of the pandemic, that number climbed to 40%. 40% of a whole generation report having no significant relationships. I think that our nation, our society is looking at a crisis of loneliness, a crisis of isolation. And if we don't understand how we fit in with other people, it's really difficult to understand meaning in our life, who we are, And the idea of self-gift, because if you don't see another person to give to, it's difficult to see yourself as having something worthy of giving.
We were having a conversation in the green room, and we were speaking about the need to communicate with our children what a human person is, what human people do. We need to emulate that. We need to be doing that in our own household. And I likened it to the chastity conversation, the chastity talk, right? Because I find that those who can eloquently speak about chastity, the theology of the body, you just mentioned so quickly the gift of self-donation, giving yourself to, it's so important to unpack that. Are we doing that? But when the kids really get the chastity talk, truly being loved instead of used, as John Paul II said, the opposite, of hatred, well, the opposite of love
Isn't hate, it's usury.
It's usury. That kind and when they finally get it, these women in particular, they're not going to go with this falsehood. I love you, and you're beautiful, and you're this, and you're that, and let's, if you like me, let's prove it. Let's do it. So God, they'll be repulsed by that. Hopefully, because they know what it means to be cherished, to be treasured, and cherishing themselves. I would never give myself away like that. That's a lie. We're lying to each other. But we really got to be, you have to see that and almost indoctrinate it in it in a beautiful way. Can you speak to that? Because I think it's the same thing with this area. You just can't venture out and be with strangers and be with people, and they're offering you all this stuff, or giving you their own philosophy and theology. You don't even know who they are.
What we're missing is a true understanding of friendship. I think you guys have nailed it. This idea that we have to model first in our homes what healthy relationships look like, what authentic friendship looks like, so that when you are faced with something that is less than satisfying, these encounters online, we talk about the idea of friendship. Look at Facebook. What does Facebook call the people who subscribe to different profiles? Friends. Do I know these people? Have I had coffee with them? Have I hugged them, shaken their hands? Can I pull them out of a lineup? Probably not. And yet we call them friends. That's very confusing for our kids.
An illusion.
It is an illusion. So we want to make sure that we are actually presenting people with what genuine friendship looks like. There's a sociologist named Sherry Turkle who's got a wonderful quote, and she says, "Technology is designed to create the illusion of companionship without the demands of friendship." Because friendship is hard work.
Yes.
We have
relationships are.
Relationships are hard work. All of it requires effort and love and a willingness to apologize when we've done something wrong, to work through the difficulties, as opposed to unfriending, unfollowing, ghosting, which is the norm among social media relationships, where you have this lack of substance and a lack of consistency that causes a lot of anxiety in people who depend on it as their only source of actual human interaction, which is so lacking.
And it so reinforces usury in that, well, that was good for me, and then I don't need you, and then, it's like, I'm over with you. Well, I would never get to do that with my brothers and sisters in my family life. And I would always tell my children, and now they tell their children, which is fun. They were having a fight, I'd say, work it out. And I'd shut the door, and they had to work it out. They had to work out how to heal, how to mend, how to repair the relationship, and get down and work that thing out. And now they are doing that with their kids. But now that we're not even having children, so it's not even happening in family life, right? So there is no formation happening for children. So they're being surrounded by adults, and this is what adults are doing.
Right. So kids are going to model what they see. So if we are sitting there staring at the phone all the time, then we're sending the wrong message. One of the things that we really strive for in my family, no phones at the table. No phones at the table. The reason for that is because that's family time. We try to really hold that dear. And if I say, oh, well, this is work, this is different, this is a work email, they're not going to look at that and assume that there's a difference there. All they're going to see is the phone is more important to Dad right now than talking to us.
Doctor, we're going to hold you over for the final segment. We're just beginning to crack open this whole area. It's so very, very important. It's the Tech Talk Strategies for Families in a Digital World at EWTNRC.com. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away. Welcome back. Having a great conversation with Dr. Horne here. Tech Talk, Strategies for Families in a Digital World. Relationships. Let's talk about relationships, whether you want to relate to our own relationship with our children or the relationships or so-called relationships that are out there online, social media, relationships.
Yeah, I think that if there's one thing I could really hit, it's the importance of relationships and genuine encounters. We are living in a world that is moving at hyperspeed. Everything has to be quick and now and immediate, and the technology forces that as well. So it's not just be available when I call and pick up, and if you don't respond in 5 minutes, I'm going to think something horrible has happened to you. Or it's, all my conversations need to be in text in these little micro bursts on Twitter or X. But it's really the loss of genuine time. The fact that we want to be able to be intentional in our relationships, because that ultimately is going to be the antidote to this loneliness that I think we're seeing. Mother Teresa talked about the poverty of the person, an interpersonal poverty that she saw in this country. I think that's gotten more true in the years since she has said that. We want to make sure that we're seeing the other person and not just seeing the world mediated through our phone, that we're actually taking the time to connect with people. And that's not to say that the technology or the websites or any of these things are bad, but they have to be balanced. If I'm spending an hour listening to a podcast, I can't simultaneously spend an hour talking to my wife. And God only gave us 24 hours in a day. There is no operating system upgrade that's going to change that. We're not suddenly going to get more time. So we've got to be intentional with the time that we have and make sure that we are investing in the people around us, because when we are able to see the face of Christ in other people and show the face of Christ to other people, that's when we are really called to holiness.
It's beautiful. Is that a part of the tech talk that we should be giving? Helping our, because you said that beautifully, and I could see a father saying that to his children. I mean, just actually explain it, what it means to be a human being.
I think
what it means to be in relationship with one another. I don't do this perfect, but I'm striving for it to be perfect in this with you.
I think it has to be. And I love what you specifically said there, the idea of, I'm not doing it perfectly. We don't have to do it perfectly. We have to do it sincerely. And we have to be willing to say, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. We want to be intentional in what we say and what we're modeling. But I think at the heart of every important conversation has to be about what is God calling us to and what is our heart desire. So when you choose to be on TikTok for 4 hours, what do you want? What do you really want? And I ask that question of many of my younger clients. What do you really want there? I want to feel loved. I want to be in a connection that really fills me and matters. Okay, that's beautiful. How does this behavior get you closer to that or farther away from that? Because I think so many kids are looking online to fill that hole, but it's the equivalent of turning down a steak and eating a bucket load of cotton candy instead, at its best.
And at times with arsenic in it.
There might also, because there are a lot of places that look good, but ultimately are poison for our soul.
Right. And as parents, I mean, we are responsible, and it's work. I mean, it is a lot of work. Even in marriage, it's work to say, we're not going to do this, we're not going to watch TV, we're going to read together, we're going to talk together, I mean, you're working it out 46 years in, and you're still working it out. And with families and relationships, when Facebook came out, for me in my life, I would say, this is going to get 15 minutes of my life. End of story. And for me on Facebook, I'm hooking up with my nieces and nephews. Everybody lives in New Jersey, and that has been a good thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it can't be anything more than that.
Right.
And I wish everybody a happy birthday, anniversary. I'm in your life. We're connected. And that's good. And that's it.
But it's that bridge. It's that bridge until you can see them again in person. It's a case of a relationship that is outside and pre-existing of the technology. So it's the technology being that steward of the relationship, not the source of the relationship.
Or a slave.
Oh, exactly.
Well, thank God we have tomorrow, because in the midst of this media event, they're drawing us to a close. So it's the Tech Talk. Go to EWTNRC.com. Join us again tomorrow to continue this important conversation. God bless you, and God bless all of your loved ones. Keep it on EWTN. Bye now.